Hello, beautiful human, and welcome to episode 89 of the Happy, Healthy, and Healing podcast. My name is Stacey, and I'm your host. Today's episode, I'm going to be speaking to the woman who treats personal development like a quick fix diet. And it's going to probably piss a few of you off, and that's okay. I say this with love, and that some of you actually need to hear it. This has been a conversation I've had so much over the last couple of months leading into the new year. It's like new year, new me energy, and it's the same thing on repeat. It's like, Stacey, I've done the courses, I've worked with these coaches, I've read the books, I've listened to the podcasts, I've done all the things. However, I'm still ending back in the same spot. And if this is you, this episode might piss you off a little bit because what I'm about to share with you challenges one of the most comfortable lies in the personal development industry. And quite frankly, I'm a little bit sick of it. I'm sick of having these conversations with super intelligent, self aware women who they know what to do, they know the things. And that's the thing. Knowledge doesn't automatically equal change. Okay. No matter how much awareness you have of your patterns, if you're not actually doing the right things, you're going to end up in the same loops. And maybe it's not next week or next month or next year. Maybe it's in 3, 4, 5 years' time when the same loops keep coming around and you wonder why. Oh my God, I'm back in this situation again. It just looks a little bit different. And you're wondering, how did I actually get here? It's because you've been absorbed in this personal development industry that is incredible and I love it so much. And over the last few years, there's been a lot of coaches that are actually keeping people intentionally stuck. There's coaches out there who will give you that surface level motivation, that kick up the bum, whatever it is, to go, yes, I've done something. It's almost like you've got a cheerleader instead of a coach. However, there is this massive lie happening in the industry. And the biggest lie is that once you've done the work, that's it. You've done it once, you worked with a coach or a couple of coaches, you've read so many books, you should be fixed, you should be further ahead, you should be, not in these patterns again. You shouldn't be having these thoughts or feelings, which equals that you're a failure or you're not good enough, and then pops you into a shame spiral where you feel shit about yourself. And over time, this cycle is happening so much for women who are constantly trying to work on themselves. So today we're going to get through why this is happening and how to actually take the steps to move forward. Now, if your nervous system is feeling a little bit tense, you're like, oh, Stacey, what do you want about? Like, I've done all the things, I've invested so much, and you're starting to feel like this is a little bit of an attack. I'm telling you that it's not. This isn't an attack on you. This is just where you've been up until right now. And this is the biggest invitation to stop gaslighting yourself, to stop putting yourself down, to stop spiraling yourself into shame, to feeling not good enough, and then searching for the magic quick fix. Okay, so stick with me. It's going to be a great episode. Before we get into it, life update as always. Life has been a little crazy. It's actually one of my favorite reframes. It's life is busy. It's easy to say that. However, I like to reframe it to life is full. And it's full of so many amazing things. Like it's full of things that I could only dream about 5 years ago. These things felt like they were impossible for me to achieve. And here I am. We've just traveled Australia. We exited out of a business that was not really serving us or our passion. We're living where I've wanted to live since before Ruby was born, like actually doing the thing. And, I don't say it to gloat. I say it to actually remind you that anything is possible. Even the things that you think are impossible, they actually are. They're all out there. They're all possibilities and probabilities of happening if you actually focus on them. However, women are just getting stuck in this box that this is the way life is, the way it's always going to be. And, there's no other option for me. I can't do it. I can't have what others have. And I'm here to tell you that you absolutely can. Okay. And that's not to say that all days aren't sunshine and rainbows. Like last week was quite an emotional week in our household. And that's part of this whole ebbs and flow of life. And this is the part of personal development that really shits me, if I'm honest, is that it's this perception. And I see it so much on social media showing the highlight reel. And of course, like I'm not going to jump on camera mid breakdown and share with you guys. However, it's actually the authenticity to show up and go, hey, life doesn't have to be perfect. We're not always going to be feeling positive all the time. We're going to be having moments in life where it's the ebbs and flows. I know that since working on myself, I feel things a lot more deeply. And yes, I feel sadness a lot more deeply. However, on the other hand, I also feel joy and happiness so much more deeply. And that's where a lot of women that come to me is they're like searching for this quick fix, this dopamine hit, this shot of happiness and or this shot of motivation. And this is the trap that they're getting themselves stuck in. And the reason I know it so well is because I was there too. Okay. I've been in this very loop that a lot of you listening have been in as well. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, we're almost in Feb, I'm behind, I'm failing, I'm, not doing good enough, the year hasn't set off as smoothly as I would like, I challenge you to actually sit with that for a moment and actually go, okay, what's underneath this? What unrealistic expectations am I setting on myself? Just because the calendar magically flicked over doesn't mean that your whole life is going to change. It's about this constant improvement, this constant journey of life. And I know that can sound a bit fluffy, however, it is true. And that's what I want you guys to be able to see in this episode, that personal development isn't a quick fix. It's actually a daily practice. It is something that whether you choose to consciously do it or unconsciously do it, you're working on yourself every single day. You are growing, you are evolving every single minute of every single day. The choices you make now are going to impact your choices in the future. Like it all evolves. I know that for most of you, if you look back 5 years from now or 10 years from now, you're not the same person that you were. And I know certainly I don't want to be the same person I am right now in 5 years. I want to grow. I want to evolve. I want to experience more in life. Like it scares me to think to be in the same place. And I know for a lot of you, this is your comfort zone. You're in your little bubble where you feel safe, you feel comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's served you up until a point. However, if you're feeling that little itch, you're feeling like there's more, there probably is. And it's about following those breadcrumbs, about following those little hits of going, okay, I can be curious about this. I can stay open. I can look at things maybe a little bit differently, look at the possibilities. I know when I first got into, I guess, personal development, I was really unhappy. I was really sad, anxious, depressed, whatever you want to label it. I was just feeling like, is this it? Is this it in life? You're telling me that I'm, mid-20s and this is it. Well, actually, I would say when it started when Bailey's dad and I separated. So I was 23 and I was like, is this it? Is this how I'm going to live my days out? I was like, no chance. And so fast forward now, getting closer to my 40s, it's like women, what I'm seeing is, maybe they didn't have that feeling like I did in my 20s. And I feel really blessed in a way to have gone through that to be where I am now. However, it's, sometimes I feel like I'm bashing my head against the wall because they're literally, I say that in a place of love. It's fear. They're scared of stepping outside their comfort zone. They're scared of actually going against the grain. They're scared of following their dreams, desires, their goals because it's not normal. And as society, women have been taught heavily that we need to be perfect. We need to be held together. We need to do all the things and tick all the boxes. And it's like, you do not have to. If your life is not fulfilling you right now, for most part, what are you actually doing? You're not living, you're just existing. And the whole point is not to just exist in life. The whole point is actually to live and experience and do the thing. Now, you don't need to sell your business, your house, you travel Australia like we did. You do not need to do that. However, you need to change some things in your life. And this is your wake up call. So I really want you to listen to this episode, and I will be getting into it. I want you to listen to this episode and maybe listen to it again and take it on because I am so sick and tired of the same conversations, seeing these women with so much potential. They're making small bits of progress. They're doing the thing. We're getting there. And then they quit on themselves and they quit on their dreams. They quit on their desires. They quit and they go back to safety when all they really needed to do was to put their hand out and say, Stace, I'm really struggling to get through this. Can you help me? And I would absolutely say yes. We all have a story. We all have a history. We all have had adversity in our lives. And one thing I'm here to do is empower women to actually keep going and take those little steps, help them to get to their goals. So I'm not saying that you can't come to me and say, Stace, like, oh my God, this is happening, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, I want you to fully express yourself. I'm here for all parts of you. However, it's then going, okay, I'm ready to be brave. I'm ready to take the next tiny step. I'm ready to commit to the next 6 to 12 months to actually go all in on me. And that is all I ask. And each day won't be perfect. I can guarantee that. However, that is the whole point, is to, it's not about working on yourself or doing the things when life is running smooth or life is perfect. It's actually doing it when times are tough, when times are challenging, and actually having someone in your corner to be like, yes, yes, you can keep going. Let's do this. All right, let's take this side step. Let's go here. Okay, this is popping up for you. Let's work on this. Like literally, that's what I do. I'm with the person, walking with them side by side, helping them overcome these things. And so when I work with women and they just give up, that actually breaks my heart. Like it really does, because I can see that they're right there. You know, the diamond that they've been digging for, if you've seen that photo on social media, it is right there. And yet they've chosen to go back to safety instead of asking for help, dropping their ego and say, Stace, I'm actually still really struggling. Amazing. I love that you can share that with me. Let's keep going. I've got you. Okay. Or alternatively, women that, I've been having conversations in my inbox for years now, and they just keep staying in their box. And again, I know that's from safety. I know that's from fear. And it's your system is doing what it's designed to do to keep you safe. However, if you have that little pull, it's like just follow the next breadcrumb. Just ask me another question. Just take action from the podcast. Just launch into coaching, whatever that next step is for you. It's like you just need to be able to see outside of your comfort zone just a little bit. Like imagine you're in a box, because that's literally what I picture, is like you are in your box right now in your comfort zone. It's like you just need to take the lid off and just peek over and be like, oh, it ain't that bad over there. You know, again, reach out your hand and ask, and I will certainly be there to help. Okay, that was a whole big rant. So I'm going to get into it now. Here's what I've been noticing lately, and probably the last few years, is that as a whole, we were the first generation who had access to personal development in this way. You know, whether it was mindset work, emotional regulation, retreats, identity shift, trauma awareness, like conditioning beliefs. Like we are the first generation to actually openly speak about these things. And I would still say it's only like 20 or 30%. Okay, maybe 30 to 40% of women. Like there are still so many women who will stay closed off because again, this deep-seated belief about perfectionism that, I have to hold it all together. If I talk about it, I'm weak. If I ask for help, I'm weak. Or they want to control the situation. Anyway, I digress. However, through that coaching boom, a lot of trust was actually lost within coaches. And so, because people weren't getting results or they were being ghosted or their money was just taken, and, people were like, oh, I've got this brand new program. This is going to solve your problems. I've got these brand new things that, no one's ever heard of before that will solve your problems. And so, women, and including myself, we got sucked into working with people who served a purpose. They started the curiosity in our journey. And so for some women, like myself, we go, hang on, that was great. I learned some things. And actually, this is what I want to work on and keep going. And then you get some women who have just gone, no, that's it. Doesn't work for me. This is just the way my life is. And that's really sad, because if you think about it, those women, if they've got children, it's like their children aren't going to be exposed to this. From my awareness, I feel like Tony Robbins was really the first person to come into my awareness about emotional mastery and mindset and limiting beliefs and things like that. And the way that Tony runs his business is actually quite incredible. If you're a business owner, I would heavily advise you to look into it, because he has figured out actually how to help the masses. And his work has changed so many lives. Like he is incredible. However, with this coaching boom back then, and what happened then was that lack of trust, personal development became this thing, and it was marketed to become almost like a thing that you consume, like a to-do list. Like you've got to check the boxes, do the things. And so by it being marketed like that, whether it's a course to get through or a breakthrough or an experience or whatever it is, and it became this thing that women subconsciously, whether they realize it or not, were thinking, I've done that. I've done the work. I should be better by now. Why am I still like this? Why am I still here? Why are things still happening outside of my control? I've ticked all the boxes. And there's nothing wrong with those thoughts or with you, actually. It's just because no one simply taught you that growth isn't an event, it isn't a 12-week program. It's actually a practice. And so, what I want to give you is actually an analogy that may land a little bit more with some of you. And let's use fitness as an example, because I feel like 99% of people can relate to this in some way. So back when we had the gyms, you would see it in challenges, and I have been there myself. Okay. I have been in that mentality is you go to the gym for 8 weeks, you train really hard, you eat really well, you get some incredible results, you get stronger, you get fitter, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And then at the end of the challenge, this funny thing happens where people just stop. And they think that because they've done all this work for 8 weeks, that they can just continue to maintain or get more results by just not doing anything. And the thing is you don't lose weight or get stronger or get fitter and then stop and go, okay, I never need to move again. No. Like most people recognize, even if they did do a challenge and then stopped, then they've realized that, hey, I actually need to keep going to maintain my results. And yet, when it comes to personal development, women are doing the exact same thing. They're thinking, oh, I've done an 8-week program, a 12-week program. I've had some amazing realizations, huge shifts, insights, whatever it is. They feel incredible. And then life happens. And then they stop practicing the things that regulated them. They go back to their old environments, their triggers. They fall back into autopilot. And slowly over time, without realizing, they're back in old patterns. They're back who they were before they started doing this work. And then they tell themselves a story that maybe it doesn't work for me. Maybe something's wrong with me. I should be further ahead. And it's like, no, you did not fail at all. You just stopped doing the things. You stop doing the things that make you feel great or feel regulated, feel calmer. Or if you have one little stumble, you have one day, you think you've gone completely backwards and you're like, that's it, doesn't work, all or nothing. Oh, I'm just giving up. And I see this on repeat. It breaks my heart and frustrates me at the same time because these women are super intelligent. They're self-aware. They know what to do. However, they let this little wobble throw them off track because, again, they think that personal development is just another box to tick when really it is a journey. Each day is an opportunity. Each day is going to be different. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. And though what it comes back to is actually coming back to yourself, coming back to the present, coming back to the tools, reaching out for help and support. Like there is no shame in having someone in your corner. Like what really gets me is people will see a psychologist, every week for 10 years and not bat an eyelid. However, when it comes to actually working on themselves and, doing this sort of inner work, they think that after 8 weeks, they should be way further ahead, or they should have their whole life figured out and all the problems solved. They should be feeling, they should be feeling calm, regulated. They should be fixed. And it's like, it's not about fixing. This is about shifting. It's about having the tools and resources for when things do pop up in life. It is about shifting your identity to become the person you want to become. It's about actually, pushing outside your comfort zone towards growth, whatever it is for you. It's all the same theme underneath. And this is where in personal development, I think this one thing doesn't actually get addressed enough. And I know in the last probably 6 to 12 months, I've made a really big point with my clients on actually working through these small things. So you can have all the knowledge, all the awareness, do all the courses, read all the books, all the things. However, if your nervous system is sitting at 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 most days, if you're overstimulated, overwhelmed, you're constantly in that fight or flight mode, your body's not actually interested in growth. It's not interested in change. It's actually interested in survival, and it's doing its job to help you survive. So that's not a mindset issue at all. That's actually a physical, like biology issue. Because when you're in fight or flight, you're constantly scanning for threats. And so your energy is focused on staying safe and simply surviving. And this is why long-term change actually will come across as threatening to your nervous system instead of exciting. So even though your mindset, you might hype yourself up being like, yeah, I'm doing this new thing. I'm, going to kill it. I'm going to be this whole new woman. On the inside, your nervous system is like, this is a threat. to what we know, to what is safe, what is in our bubble. So when women say to me, Stacey, I know what to do, I just can't do it, I actually believe them, because you can't create this expansive, confident, regulated, calm life from a nervous system that thinks it's under threat. And this is why it's so important to start with regulation, with the slowing down, with the grounding, with building safety in the body. And this stuff isn't shiny. This is often boring for women when I task them with, okay, you've got to do 3 minutes of breath work a day. You need to pause between tasks. You've got to, take a breath before you speak. Like all of these things on the surface, they aren't sexy. They aren't the next best thing. And this is where the problem with personal development and, women looking to tick another box for the next shiny object, to the thing that's going to finally fix all their problems, becomes a real issue. And where I'm just seeing more and more of it. You need to focus on the basics. It's the same with fitness. You need to focus on the basics. Same principles apply. And so when women don't see this work as exciting, I'm a very practical coach. I actually sit there with being open, with compassion, and understand what's going on for them in their life and show them that compassion. They often resist the work because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to feel their feelings, because that's what happens sometimes when you actually slow down. They don't want to go deeper into it. They're happy just with that surface level motivation. And I can love and respect them for where they are, because their system is literally just trying to keep them safe. And that's why it's resisting the work. It's resisting the boring stuff. And most women, as I said at the start, they will quit. They will quit on themselves. They will quit because they don't want to be uncomfortable, because they're already uncomfortable when you think about it. Because if they've been living in this survival, flight or fight mode with low grade stress most of their life, calm can feel unfamiliar and even unsafe. And so they're going to create this story that, oh, it's just a waste of time. She's just telling me to do breath work. Like, I do so much more than that in our sessions. We actually work through a variety of things depending on what your thing is. However, if I need to start with your nervous system, your homework is going to be to do those little things each day, because those little things are going to have the biggest impact. We need to practice these things while we're calm and regulated to then have access to them when we're feeling dysregulated. And this is where I'm just going to get really honest and really clear. I see you constantly searching for the next thing. I was you. I get it. I see you searching for the next coach, the next method. It's almost like you're searching for a dopamine hit, because in your life, you just feel so numb and dissociated, and you just feel like, maybe lost or depressed or anxious. And so you're hoping, secretly hoping, that one of these things is finally going to fix you. And I want to say this very clearly. There is no one thing. There is no one thing that's going to fix you or help you feel calmer or feel regulated or help you have confidence or trust yourself or whatever it is. And even when you found your thing that works for you, it won't work for the person next to you, because we are all different. We've all had different life experiences. We've all got different filters or rose tinted glasses on how we see the world. It's a combination of things. And if you're always searching outside yourself, it's because you're relying on that thing to fix you when you're not really broken. What's broken is your self-trust and actually knowing that you've got your own back. It's actually trusting yourself to stick with something long enough and actually letting it integrate. When women first start personal development, they feel like the insights, the awareness, the big aha moments feel productive, right? And integration, though, can feel really uncomfortable. And that's the thing that they don't want to stick at. And I guess, where I get frustrated is because the work that I do with women is different for every single woman that I coach. Even in group containers where we've got modules to work through, the things that the women need to work through are all different, because we are all different. And I guess what separates me is, I'm not just saying that this is a one size fits all program, and if it doesn't work for you, there's something wrong with you. I would even go as far to say is it's nothing really about the tools or the method or the sessions that I deliver. Like, yes, they are key moments. However, it's actually about the commitment to ride the journey with the person. That's what it's about, is seeing them and holding them in, the good, the bad, the ugly, the all of it, and actually being there to help them step forward. When I commit to a woman, like, I fully go in, and the women who transform aren't always the ones who get it the fastest. Like sometimes the first bit of actually working together is actually peeling back the layers because women feel unsafe with peeling them back or letting, there's so many women with the sisterhood wound of don't want to let women in because they've been hurt in the past. Like, there's this massive trust building. And though when the women actually get it and they start practicing the things day to day and they start implementing them, that's when the real change can happen. And this, I guess, is where like it blows my mind is that I see women, who I have chats with and they're like, Stace, yeah, I've been seeing a psychologist for so many years and nothing against psychologists. Like I've definitely think they serve their purpose. However, these women have been seeing them and not feeling any better or getting a result, but they've just thought that that's what they have to do. Or I might see women who, they've had the same scenarios play out years after years or the same, challenges. I can see that they're visibly in pain and they need support. And I know that I can help them through my coaching. However, when I say to them, okay, I'd love to commit for 6 months, we'll start with 3. They're like, oh, that feels like a lot. Can't I just do a 4-week program? It's like, no, personal development is not a 4-week program. Like, yes, in 4 weeks, I help some women work on maybe one specific thing that they come to me with. However, it's like if you want to go deep and you actually want to get to the root cause of things, we need to commit together. This is a journey. And I know that that commitment piece for a lot of women is that they don't feel safe yet. And the thing is if you tell yourself that story, that's the way it's going to be. Whereas you can choose to go, okay, I'm open to it. I feel nervous. I feel anxious about it. However, I'm going to lean into it. You can then choose to go, okay, I can do this. And you can flip that. And if you choose not to, that's okay. Like, let's just call it what it is, though. You're choosing not to. And that's okay right now. And if you need to be here right now a little bit longer before we can work together, that's okay. I will send you so much love. I will send you whatever resources I can send you. However, I am no longer here for the quick fixes. I'm no longer here for the women that will not commit to themselves. I'm here for the women who they're at that crossroads in their life. And they're like, no more, Stacey. I cannot take another round of this. I am at my wit's end. I just want to add also for the women who are searching for the quick fixes, this isn't to shame you, this episode. I once was you, as I said. I've worked with lots of coaches, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on personal development. And it took me all of that time and that investing that money to realize that this is an ongoing journey. And this is part of life. This is part of who I am. This is my identity. I choose growth. And yet it feels uncomfortable. And sometimes I occasionally still procrastinate. And that's okay. That's about moving through it. And I know that if you're looking for a quick fix, it's just because you're uncertain, you aren't feeling safe, and you're doing the best that you can right now. And that's okay. Something is better than nothing. However, I want you after this episode to deeply, next time you go to sign up for a quick fix course, actually take a moment to go, hang on, is this actually going to help me towards my goals? Because there's some amazing short courses out there. Or is it just me searching for the next best thing? Look at it as you would look at a diet. If you're looking at a macro plan versus a 800 calorie fast, which one is actually going to help you in the long term? So I just want to be clear. This episode isn't about shaming anybody because literally this is where I've been in the past. I want you to start to look at things differently. And also to remind you, you're not behind, you're not late, you aren't a failure because you haven't got your whole life worked out. You are evolving, you're constantly growing, and you can constantly grow either consciously or unconsciously. Growth is going to stretch you. It's going to challenge you. It's going to ask you to be more honest with yourself. Because if you think about it, if you're staying in the same place forever and you're talking to the same people, doing the same thing, you're feeling really unfulfilled, maybe sad, depressed, anxious, whatever it is, that's really not safety. That's being stagnant. And if you're feeling scared, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling like, oh, I know there's more, maybe even a little bit of excitement, really uncomfortable, that's not a problem. That's actually your next level asking for your attention. I hope that you can see in this episode that personal development, whilst it's an incredible thing, it also can trap women in this cycle of looking for the next thing to solve their problems, to fix them, to the shiny object syndrome. I want you to, next time you go and you choose to invest with someone or with a course or a download, is like actually use your discernment and go, is this going to help me? Is this going to promote sustainability? Is this going to help me shift internal patterns? Is this going to help me build my next level? Or is it all just smoke and mirrors? Because I think one thing 2026 is asking of all of us is actually to be real, to be honest. You know, the rise of AI is incredible. And it's also a little bit scary if you saw the photo I posted on my stories. You know, this woman in her 40s with wrinkles was a full AI person. And it's like, we don't need that. We don't need those unrealistic expectations of having this perfect life. We actually just need to go inward to find our people, to focus on our own growth, to move through the uncomfortable things instead of just pushing it all down and pretending life's okay. This is the time. There has never been a better time than right now to actually start to choose differently. So I see you. I know that you're doing the best that you can right now. And I'm here for you if you need that next level. If you're sick of the going around on the merry-go-round, sick of the shiny objects coming at you, sick of being made to feel like you're not good enough or you should be ashamed, you know, even if we've worked together in the past, drop the ego. Hey, Stace, I'm really struggling with this right now. I'll be there with my practical tools, with my boring tasks, you know, with actually sustainable things for you to help you get from A to B. That is what I do. Every woman I coach and man is different in what they need and what chapter they are in their life. So this is where it gets to be different. I'm continuously throwing myself into circles and learning more and more so I can build this movement of women. We're not accepting the dregs. We're not settling anymore. We're standing in our power. We're actually designing the lives that we want to live. We're actually feeling that confidence from within. We're doing these things to expand ourselves. This is my life's mission. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did enjoy it, please subscribe on YouTube, hit the like button, share it with a friend on your stories, whatever it is, because I feel like this is a message that more women need to hear.